could be more important than knowing why we are in this world and remembering why we came here? We first recognize we've forgotten something. Nothing that happens here is random, coincidental, or meaningless. The infinite names and attributes of the Creator are spread throughout the universe and gathered in the human being who appeared last on the stage. We come down to a single question: who am I? Life itself is already a guide. It guides people by reflecting themselves through events and relationships. Even if the time of awakening depends on itself, what follows is up to your will. Hello, friend. Today's topic is the purpose of existence. The reason I chose this theme after the hero's journey is that it is the most inclusive and fundamental topic that concerns all of you. From philosophy to biology to cosmology, one of humanity's oldest and most universal questions, covering many disciplines from religion and spirituality to art. What could be more important than knowing our reason for being in this world? Remembering why we came here, ourselves, our purpose, our essence, where we came from, where we will go. We are now going through processes where it is time for us to remember. What is a human? What is their purpose? Why have they come to the world? The word human etymologically shares a root with the words uns and nisan. Familiarity, intimacy, being able to connect means being sincere. Nisyan means being able to forget. The combination of these two is enough to define a human. The journey we embark on to discover our purpose ultimately leads to the purpose of all existence. From the moment we fall into the world, while learning to adapt to its rules, we actually forget what we know in reality. We live in a state of disconnection with nature's laws, having lost our essence. One notices this first, that they have forgotten something. However, if we live in harmony with universal laws, we can connect with our true selves. And we may experience that this connection will take us to the roots of existence. And eventually, we do justice to our name, forgetting and connecting. So exactly what and how will one form a connection with? These questions lead us into a long process of inner journey. Actually, within the collective consciousness, what this path is, how to process, what needs to be done, and what paths to take are recorded. Even though we may have forgotten this, the entire process is ingrained in our programming. We intentionally accepted to come here. We showed willpower and took responsibility. Nothing that happens here is random, coincidental, or meaningless. So when we realize this fact, if we move forward without avoiding our responsibilities, without blaming conditions, people, or events, and without showing resistance, then we can live in harmony and flow in alignment with the divine plan. This process will be much easier for us. Actually, from the emergence of humankind until today, all mythologies, religious texts, stories, and legends that draw from the collective consciousness describe this journey and the human being, like the theme of the hero's infinite journey that I explained in my previous video. This hero archetype represents the human soul, and the journey symbolizes the soul's evolution, or in other words, the process of spiritual development. The purpose of this process is to manifest our meaning in the material world, that is, to implement it in this reflective world. We also know well how to make the invisible visible. This is essentially the Creator's intent. His infinite names and attributes are spread throughout the universe and were gathered in the person who appeared on the final stage. The main goal is to unify everything in human and see oneself through that entity. They see that a person is a microcosm and the universe is a macrocosm. The world is a realm that reflects the soul as it undergoes experiences and evolutions. As the soul undertakes its life journey here using the human body as a vehicle, it actually travels the real path within to find one's own truth. This place can only be perceived with our limited 5 senses. a universe where we can define everything by its opposite or its similarity. So how will we wake up to the truth we've forgotten? How will we discover our own purpose before reaching the purpose of existence? How will we embark on our own inner journey?
The beginning of the inner journey.
Before starting this journey, an awakening, a realization, and questioning begin in everyone. This can be triggered in everyone by different events at different times. For some, it starts with a feeling of inner turmoil, a sense of emptiness, or an inner voice, chasing every kind of pleasure in the hope of finding happiness, only to realize that the pleasure turns to foam. Some start to question why they keep experiencing the same thing in the vicious cycle of events they cannot change. For some, it starts with a traumatic event or a major loss. Ultimately, we come to a single question: who am I? This is a moment of awakening, a door opening to the journey of self-discovery. At this point, we give up the toys that distract us outside and strive to reach our true self, our truth. The target is no longer outward but inward. Let's remember the story of the phoenix at this point. The simurgh is the most exalted of all birds, and all birds in the hardships they face always seek help from it. One day, all birds hear that the simurgh has disappeared and set out to find it. The journeys are long and challenging. They have to pass through 7 valleys, and each valley holds difficult trials for them. Most birds turn back or stay on the road. When the remaining 30 birds finally reached Mount Kaf, they learned that simurgh actually means 30 birds. They have found salvation in their own meanings within themselves. This legend actually symbolizes the state of self-discovery and self-awareness. Each of us finds our own simurgh in our inner journey. The hardest part is taking the first step, of course. Stepping out of our comfort zone, facing the unknown, requires courage, dedication, patience, and understanding. As we journey through life, we begin to view the events that happen to us and the people we attract into our lives from a completely different perspective. Because our life is a mirror of our own truth, and we start to see that we can communicate with it anytime, anywhere. Once revealed, the codes of the universe gradually open up. The more you listen, the more life speaks, and from everywhere.
Reading life.
Life offers us countless ways to know and understand ourselves. Once we are determined to advance on this path, we continue with methods that suit our talents and nature. Life itself already serves as a guide, reflecting back to us and guiding us through events and relationships. You need to read. You need to listen to the life. Reading it is like reading yourself, your potentials, the reason for coming here, and how you will fulfill it. Our harmful habits that we need to correct, and our good habits that we need to develop and use. And most importantly, how we will use these for a good intention. In short, reflecting our spiritual development into this realm of manifestation, discovering the hidden and making it visible here. Matter and meaning are 2 aspects that influence and complete each other, like the inside and outside of a stitch on a fabric. The soul needs both for its development. Through the experiences we live in the material world, we evolve into a better version of ourselves in the spiritual realm. We also bring what we gain in spirituality into the material world. If we have come here for a purpose to find our meaning, and if life in every way guides us and shows us the way in cooperation, once we wake up to this, it is up to us as passengers to take action. Even though waking up is in its own time, what happens next is up to your will. That's why wise people say destiny loves effort. Universal laws are in harmony with nature. Effort leads us to understand ourselves and the laws of nature over time. We realize that the root of all problems is actually that we act against nature, and nature shakes us to bring us into balance, just like the calm after a sea storm. People find balance after extremes. Human inner cycles parallel those of nature. Let's examine the cycles from the birth of the universe till today. We always see the harmony that emerges after chaos. For example, let's consider the process of a forest regenerating after a fire. Although a fire may seem like a great destruction at first glance, it is actually one of nature's ways of renewing itself and maintaining balance. After a fire, the soil enriches with minerals, new vegetation sprouts, and the forest becomes stronger and more diverse over time. Well, let's think about the process of the formation of the universe. This event, known as the Big Bang, at first glance, it may seem like a great destruction, but it is actually one of the universe's ways of creating and maintaining balance. After the Big Bang, the universe was filled with a dense cauldron of hydrogen and annihilating particles. However, this chaotic beginning transformed into an orderly and harmonious structure with the expansion and cooling of the universe over time. In the beginning, there were only simple elements like hydrogen and helium, but with the birth and death of stars, heavier elements formed. At the end of their lives, stars explode and scatter these elements into space, and that's how they prepared the ground for the formation of planets, galaxies, and ultimately all the complex chemical structures necessary for life. The chaotic birth of the universe is actually the foundation of the magnificent order and harmony we see today, and this system is always established through cycles of death and birth, and through cause and effect relationships. We can also transform the chaotic moments in our lives into inner balance and harmony. Stress and challenges force us to have a deep inner transformation. During this transformation process, we cleanse ourselves of old habits and thought patterns and renew ourselves. This new harmony born from chaos leads us to a deeper understanding and awareness. When we find inner balance, we begin to live in harmony both with ourselves and the universe. This is a very important step towards realizing your purpose of existence. Unity and wholeness are known. Understanding the purpose of existence is not just an individual process, of course. It also requires acting with a collective consciousness. In the universe, everything is interconnected, each microcosm being a part of the whole. When we realize that we are the light of the absolute divine power, we attain the consciousness of unity and wholeness. This consciousness includes love, understanding, compassion, and empathy. To be sensitive towards other people and all beings in nature, living in harmony with the rhythm of the universe are important steps in realizing the purpose of existence. Each of us is a torchbearer in this universe, and spreading this light is our greatest obligation here. Rising consciousness and surrender. The person who comes to the understanding of unity and wholeness begins to see themselves in everything and everything in themselves. As our consciousness expands, we see the Creator, His flawless system, beauty and harmony wherever we look. We know Him through His attributes and names, because His light is already scattered throughout every particle in the universe. We can only see this if we go beyond the five senses. That is, if we see not with our eyes, but with our hearts. Because love is possible not with the eyes, but with the heart. This is about surrender, but striving surrender, not blind obedience, of course. If our intuition also comes into play beyond our limited understanding, we realize that behind all our troubles and negativities, there is a good reason, and the divine plan is always in effect. Surrender is a very important part of this journey. If you think about it, most situations, conditions, and events are entirely beyond our control. Our free will does not have the power to control everything or change others. However, we have the power to change our perspective on events and people. There is only one area within ourselves that we need to work on: ourselves, our perspective, our understanding, being able to be in states of satisfaction, peace and well-being, being free from all external conditions, and achieving an inner tranquility and sense of satisfaction. Surrender provides our inner peace and confidence. It makes us stronger and more resilient in the face of life's challenges. We can be more understanding and centered. We stop blaming people or events. We can acquire love, understanding, bonding, morality, and many other virtues. Because connecting with the Almighty Creator, the Absolute Source, allows us to become familiar with His beautiful names and attributes. These are actually seeds already planted in our own soil, just waiting to crack open. Surely one day they will turn into trees and start bearing fruit. Ultimately, the purpose of existence is the process of self-recognition, understanding, and development. In this process, we also find our own center within the grand cycle of the universe. Each of us has an important role and purpose in this universe. As our inner journey deepens, we see this purpose more clearly and add meaning to our lives. Remember that this journey is an endless process that teaches us something new in every moment. Discovering ourselves, finding our place in the bigger picture, our greatest reason for existence. I hope our paths are always clear. Stay with love and understanding.